Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, the crypto market showing very clear signs of life. Does everybody believe it's not over yet? Because just 24 hours ago, people were pretty sure it's over, but then number went up. Look at this. And of course the party wasn't over yet. We haven't seen Bitcoin dominance completely plummet yet. That has happened every single cycle throughout history. We've got global M2 near all-time highs. Crypto always follows historically, but this time's going to be different. What about the business cycle, a key metric which has always been a top indicator? We're not there yet. What about sentiment in the market? It's been in the gutter. So let me ask you, has there ever been a peak of a crypto market where people are sad pandas or happy pandas? No, they're always sad pandas, damn it. You know that. They're always sad and mopey and bitching up a storm on the internet. Which is fine. I mean, the internet was created to bitch about stuff, so like I have no qualms with that. I'm just saying the end clearly is not here. And that, as a result of that, you shouldn't be surprised when I show you today a ton of posts from chart analysts with great track records further insisting the best is yet ahead, noting that we're just waiting on a breakout, but it's absolutely coming. XRP will hit new all-time highs. It will enter face-melting price discovery. That is the broad expectation from literally every single chart analyst that I follow. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it's 6:13 p.m. Central Time, which is my time zone. It is October. Welcome to Q4, everybody. It's October 1st, 2025. Where's the year going? We got XRP at $2.93. Not too shabby. Remember back in the good old days yesterday when it was only $2.82? Ah, simpler times. We'll never forget you yesterday. Look at Bitcoin, though. It's almost at $118,000. You realize that's $10,000 higher, roughly, than just a few days ago when people were screaming that the sky is falling, except for the sky was not falling. Here's another clear sign of life. Zcash. Look at this freaking chart. Let me just tell you. You do not see coins, random coins just popping off when you're in the midst of a bear market. That would be exceedingly rare anyway. That would be very, very rare. So this coin is up like 60% just about in the last 24 hours. It's up 101%, by the way, over the last 7 days, and 196% over the last 30, but big move just over the last 24 hours. I'm just telling you, folks, when you're getting closer to a euphoric alt season, you historically do see a coin here and there randomly popping off. This is something you should expect as you get close to the end of a cycle. This is great. And it doesn't matter whether or not you hold Zcash. I happen to, but this is one of the many coins I hold. I've held it for, I don't know, half a decade or so. But, you know, it's not like some huge holding for me. But I was like, oh yeah, that coin. I don't ever think about it. But look at it rocket. I'm just telling you, that's a good sign if you want alt season. This is the type of thing that happens. Also, how about that S&P 500 hitting another new all-time high today? How about the Russell 2000 up at least a little bit today? Signs of life abound, my friends. The markets, this is not over. And there's every indication that, frankly, the stock market's going to keep ripping higher, and the crypto asset class historically moves in tandem. Here's a post from on-chain analytics firm Swissblock, which does fantastic work. The guys that run this are the same that run Glassnode, another on-chain analytics firm. And they do not think the end is over for Bitcoin, just to be clear. They wrote, Bitcoin is back in the trenches. This is just from this afternoon, 1:27 p.m. They say, a daily close above $117,200 breaches the path to all-time high. What's different this time? A rising Bitcoin dominance leading the charge. And that's kind of fascinating, seeing that in the short term. Like I said at the outset, the Bitcoin dominance has not, it's come down from its local high in recent months, but we haven't seen that the type of drop that gets it down to like 35, 40%, where it just falls off a cliff and alt season takes over. This will be the first time in history it doesn't happen. What's the rationale for that? And so, again, now as I record, we're 6:16 p.m. So the daily close actually happens at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's when the charts close. So you got less than an hour here. And like I said, you know, at the time of recording this, Bitcoin's almost $118,000 rather. So if you stay above 117,200, Swissblock, on-chain analytics firm, thinks that's a really good indicator that we're just going to rampage higher. There's also this. Of course, we have the government shutdown. I talked about that in a video yesterday leading up to this. The market doesn't give a damn. Happy to see that. Maybe the market's thankful for it. Yes, government, do less. Please just do less. You overspending sons of bitches. And so we got this also from Swissblock. U.S. government shutdown. The longest shutdown, December 18th, January 2019, was 35 days. And then say it came after Bitcoin's 50% drawdown with no direct correlation. During it, Bitcoin stayed range-bound at $3,575 to $3,800, just about 6% lower. I remember when Bitcoin was that cheap. Anyway, shutdowns haven't been direct negative catalysts for Bitcoin. The impact tends to be muted with no clear short-term effect. Context and broader market conditions matter far more. Yeah, and so that's kind of in line with what I was saying yesterday. Not that I knew what for sure was going to happen, how the market would respond today. It didn't. But I did insist it didn't matter. I've been through too many of these before, and these things happen, the shutdowns, roughly every 2 years. And it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And here on this day, the market's like, yeah, whatever. We're just going to go up. Happy to see that. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. And this is a Bitcoin chart, and it's showing how Bitcoin has moved after bottoming for this cycle, the cycle before that, and before that. And so he wrote here, Bitcoin bottom cycle overlay updated. 2015 bottom to 2017 top was 1,067 days. And so that would be the purple line. Then you have the 2018 bottom to 2021 top. That was 1,060 days. And that would be the red line. And then you have the green line, which is where we're at now. It's 2022 bottom to now, 1,045 days. It says, do you think this will play out again? Would love to see what everyone is thinking. Okay, so if it were going to play out as long as the 2015 bottom to top cycle, then you've got another, what do we have? 22 days? And by the way, it doesn't mean it has to exactly be within those parameters. It doesn't mean it can't be slightly longer. But there's also the theory that TechDev and Raoul Pal and Julian Biddle and maybe a few others have, which is that you're actually in an elongated cycle having to do with the business cycle metric, which is actually taking longer to play out and always indicates the peak of the market cycle. And I've talked about that in other videos. If that's the case, if they're right, then this thing's going to go out into 2026 anyway. But you're still going to see the same types of behaviors play out. It's just stretched out further. So we'll see. I don't pretend to know. I'm not taking a bet on that. I'm just sharing with you information. But it's possible you could see an end sooner than later, but it doesn't necessarily have to be so. Either way, even if that's the case, like the best would still be ahead. To me, it just seems so obvious. There's this post from X-Force Global. He wrote in part, we should be seeing a new all-time high in the coming month, if not sooner. So, and this is what I keep seeing. There are only a couple analysts that are not confident in Bitcoin at this particular juncture in time. And if they're right, my hat's off to them. I don't get into the prediction game with this stuff. I only note that, the analysts that I follow, whatever the majority of them think is almost always right, especially if almost all of them agree. Sometimes minority opinions are correct. They're usually not. So just take it for what it's worth. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Seth. And he wrote, global money supply is making new all-time high. And so that would be the blue line. Then you've got, he said, gold. Gold is making new all-time high, and that's the, what color is this? Magenta, purplish, something like that. And then he says, Bitcoin is lagging both. Bitcoin will catch up and surpass both in Q4. It will be a biblical pump for Bitcoin. Okay, and so it is the case that Bitcoin lags behind global M2. It's also the case that after gold starts rocketing, there's a rotation ultimately into Bitcoin that's happened every single cycle. Is this time different? Maybe, but I ain't counting on it. I'm not counting on it. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom. It says XRP BTC just waiting on that breakout. So XRP price against Bitcoin. I got a note here. This is a chart going back to 2017. Technically the tail end of 2016. But look at this. We haven't had an all-time high for XRP against Bitcoin since the first half of 2017. It has been over 8 years since we've had a new XRP all-time high against Bitcoin. Yeah, we've got an all-time high against the United States dollar multiple times this year. Love to see it. But you think, what, we're just never going to see a new all-time high for XRP against Bitcoin ever again? This is it? We're just going to waddle around here forever? I don't think so. I think that XRP is going to continue to make Bitcoin its tiny little baby back bitch, and that's what it's done ever since November. I just don't think it's done. Not a chance in hell. I mean, I don't mean that literally. I mean, I'm just saying, my conviction, personally, you guys can tell me what you think, my conviction is you're going to see us hit a new all-time high or get really freaking close. But I will not be surprised to finally see a new all-time high. XRP has been artificially suppressed for the better part of half a decade at this point. It's finally woken up since this past November. And you can see, like, obviously XRP has rallied against Bitcoin since then. We did have that bottom in November. I just don't think it's done. And even if Bitcoin has topped here, which I'm not convinced of yet, though it could be the case, I just think about it. If that's the case, whoosh, see how much room there is to run higher? You know what that means for XRP against the dollar? This is why all of the analysts who are predicting XRP is going to be in double digits this market cycle, they're not crazy. I don't know. I don't make price predictions myself. I'm not saying for sure it will or won't. I'm just saying it ain't crazy to believe that XRP could go that high. Just look even on the XRP BTC chart how much room there is to run. It can go way, way, way higher. Here's another chart analyst, Crypto Wizard, showing another XRP BTC chart, also going back to the same time period, 2017. And he said, game still to come. What if I told you the real move is still to come? For nearly 6 years, XRP against Bitcoin has been trading below 0.000027, but the W pattern is ready. Once it breaks, it will trigger a parabolic rally above $3.65 to new highs. Right. And so and this is also why, before XRP hit a new all-time high, so go back a year ago, I would consistently point out, what, do you really think that the all-time high on January 4th from 2018, way back in the day, that was it? We got that, and then just there's never one ever again? We're just done? Oh, okay, even though XRP fundamentals had never been stronger. Well, let me say something similar here. Okay, so the XRP all-time high against Bitcoin from 2017, what, that was it? And we're just never going to have a new one ever again? That was it? Even though the fundamentals for XRP are stronger than ever? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think so, folks. Way higher. There's a post from Cryptology yesterday where he's pointing out, XRP is still going to $10. He's just been very consistent about that. Today, in this afternoon, he just reposted that and said, new all-time high loading. The conviction is still there, as it should be. It's there for every analyst that I follow. Here's a post from chart analyst CW. The real rally for XRP is starting. It just needs to break above its all-time high line. And an ETF is expected to be approved by the middle of this month. Everything is perfect. Well, it doesn't have to be by the middle of this month, and I made a video. My very last video was actually talking about this. It could be any day, literally, because there's been a rules change. Setting that aside, the idea of an XRP getting approved or multiple XRP ETFs getting approved sooner rather than later, that's true. I will not be surprised to see that happen. Just, adding fuel to the fire, basically. I still think XRP runs regardless, but it's a fair point. But yeah, when he says here, the real rally for XRP is yeah, absolutely. Break above the all-time high line, there's so many analysts that are arguing that. And it makes sense. People will be paying attention. Here's a post from Chart Nerd. He says, XRP to $27 has been the 1.618 target ever since the 2018 high. All-time high, rather. With 7 years of compression within a symmetrical triangle, it's no wonder the breakout from 50 cents to $3.60 was so explosive. That, however, was just the start. Tighten your seatbelts. The ride has just begun. Well, hallelujah. I agree with that. I agree with the sentiment. I mean, not the price prediction part. Maybe he's right, maybe he's not. I don't get into that. But this idea of, yes, higher? Oh, of course. And I don't know that will happen. That's just my conviction, but I think my conviction is well placed. We're not over. If we have already topped, there are so many things broken in the charts and so many metrics that no longer matter. I wouldn't even know where to start creating a video on that. I would highlight, there are so many things I'd highlight. That broke, that broke, that broke, that broke. This was different, that was different. It'd just be a gigantic list, which is why it doesn't make sense to believe right now that the best is behind us. The best is almost certainly yet ahead. Here's a post from Ali Martinez, chart analyst. Support held. XRP could now bounce toward $3 to $3.15. So optimistic here in the short term. He posted that this morning. And then we had, let me see here. Whoops, maybe that's not the chart that I intended to pull up. Is this? Oh, it's the XRP US oil. Oh yeah, okay. Bull stepping up, pushing price right back to the top trend of the triangle. This chart just remains incredible. Clearing this downtrend should mark a bullish shift. Happy to see that. And then you got this from chart analyst Nick. No matter what kind of FUD comes across my timeline, it will never change the fact that XRP will be 10x, if not 100x, bigger than it is today. So, and by the way, as far as 100x, that he's not saying this cycle. I'm not saying this cycle. The idea of it being 100x from here, so over $300, that could happen way in the future. I'm not predicting anything, along those lines. I don't think that's crazy if you're not, applying a specific time frame. But yeah, everything's looking good. And look, we're above $118,000 for Bitcoin. Gonna close out the day strong, it looks like. So anyway, I'm just saying, everything gonna be all right. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.